Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will answer some questions which were asked a bit long time ago, but I couldn't have the time to address them. And the questions are genuine, important if we want to popularize science, to water down the concept of time, to water down the concept of uh, science from the technical into plain language that everybody would understand, even if someone does not belong to that very profession. We will try to put things as much as we can in ordinary language. So let's go straight into the questions and address them one after the other. The first question was asked me on a Facebook platform that in geography secondary school we were told that the earth has two kinds of movement. One is the rotation about its own axis, causing day and night, whereas the other one is a revolution of the entire planet Earth around the sun. So that sounded somehow counterintuitive to the person who asked us that question. However, we will demonstrate that it is not naive. It is not impossible. So, not only the Earth, but all other planets are orbiting the sun in specific orbits, though they get change in shape over time due to the influence of other planets, especially heavy ones like Jupiter and its sister neighbors. Therefore, I would like to first tell the person asking the question that that is the nature of science. We say one thing today, and tomorrow we falsify it, or rather we modify it without prejudice to the previous model. There is nowhere this concept of doing and undoing has been done as it is still being done with respect to the atom. Earlier, we had Dalton stating that the atom is the smallest, indivisible, and dimensionless particle of which matter is built. I'm not going to touch other postulations which also couldn't stand the continuous discovery of phenomena in physics and other physical sciences. My concern is the atomic model. We still do it. Because after Dalton has made it a hard, indisputable indestructible particle, then a lot of things emerge to show that there are more particles that are the subunits of the atom. One of them was the lecture given by, the experiment carried out by Sir J.J. Thomson, where he noticed that from the atom, electrons can be ripped apart. That means the atom is not a fundamental quantity. So, what are the quantities of the atomic model? One problem is that it has been found to be divisible. A fully occupied atom, an atom with enough electrons equal to the number of protons, is a neutral atom. But Sir J.J. Thomson, through manipulations using the discharge tube phenomenon, thermionic emission, and acceleration of the product electrons, found that the electron is negatively charged. So, and the nucleus, where the greater mass of the atom is concentrated, is also not the same for every element. So he even calculated the charge to mass ratio of the hydrogen atom. So he proposed a Plum pudding model of the atom. His Plum pudding model is something like this. In this circle is distributed the energy and charges attached to the nucleus, and the electrons are carefully arranged within this field. Something of this nature. So it is like a watermelon, which consists of the actual tissue of watermelon and the seeds embedded in the tissue of the watermelon. So are electrons, according to J.J. Thomson, that they are distributed within the electrostatic force or the electrostatic field of the nucleus, and they are arranged in such a way that they will not annihilate by reaction. We teach this, and then the next lesson we say it should be thrown away. It has a lot of lapses. That is how students get used to things, that whenever things are presented to them, they have no difficulty in understanding it. Then we bring Bohr's correction that outline allowable orbits for the electron. First, it was Rutherford who conducted an experiment and found that the bulk of the mass of the atom and that of the charges are concentrated in the center of the atom. So he also invented a planetary model, a very good one. The nucleus at the center, and also electrons revolving around the nucleus in a classical manner around the nucleus, so that it is called the planetary model. However, within that classical path that can take any radius, as the electron circulates, it loses energy, and the radius or distance between it and the atomic nucleus becomes smaller and smaller until the electron falls into the atom, and that is when the positive nucleus will annihilate the electron. So that was also not a useful model. We then brought about the Bohr model of the atom, which predicted only allowable paths, allowable orbits in which the electron can orbit around the nucleus. These allowable orbits, the electron cannot exist between two circular paths. That area is termed the forbidden gap. However, when it changes position from a higher energy level to a lower energy level, maybe trying to attain ground zero, then the electron emits energy that is exactly the difference between the energies of the two orbits. And when it rises from lower energy state, it jumps without any circular motion that will make it dissipate radiation and die down. It jumps from the lower state to the upper state and absorb an electromagnetic energy known as photons. They absorb them in order to increase their energy so that they can stay at a higher energy level. But that does not last, because ultimately the electron is going to emit that radiation it gained and still go back to its ground state. So this is actually not part of our discussion, but I brought it so that someone understands how in science you are taught one model today, which the teacher, even at the time he was delivering the lecture, knew that such a model is impossible. So the following lesson he would deconstruct that model and construct a better one. Even Bohr's model was also further explained and re-emphasized by other scientists such as Arnold Sommerfeld, Werner Heisenberg, and many other of them. So this is how a student got used to understanding things from the smallest to the biggest, because his mind has been trained to try this, then not to give up, try another one. So let us move into answering the first question. The first question asks that if the Earth spins on its axis, which brings day and night, it also revolves around the sun in a way. So why is it that, being the center of revolution of the planets, of the other planets in the solar system, the sun itself has to undergo other processes? So in most cases, especially in Newtonian description of gravity, we use only two-body problem, because three-body problems are actual problems. They are very difficult, if at all they can be solved analytically. It means Newton's law of motion functions only between two bodies: the Earth and Moon, the Earth and Sun, the Moon and the Earth itself. All these are two-body problems, but we have a superposition principles whereby we pick discrete data and convert it to solve a problem. Actually, the problem is not solved analytically, but numerically. This is the question that King Oscar II of Netherlands, I think, is it Netherlands, gave a prize to any scientists who proved that the solar system is stable based on the principles or laws of physics. Actually, the solution was not really found, but an answer to the question was formulated by a French mathematician known as Henri Poincaré. So this is it about many body problems. Even electric charges, we do not put all of them into a singular form and calculate their parameters. That is not possible. So we always take two charged particles solve the problem of another two particles and find the resultant. That way you end up finishing the particles by calculating the ultimate resultant force. So this is another aspect of the solar system. So let me begin to answer the question that how is it possible the sun also revolves round, yes, the sun also revolves round the Milky Way Galaxy. In the first place, I have to explain what galaxy is. A galaxy is a collection of billions of stars held by gravity, and at the center of the black hole, at the center of the galaxy, there usually is a supermassive black hole that contributes in keeping the elemental stars in place without them having to fly away. So our own galaxy is known as the Milky Way Galaxy. There are different types of galaxies. There are older galaxies, there are new galaxies, and there are galaxies that have already died out. There are stars that have already died out through radiation of energy. When the energy it consumes to push against gravity is exhausted, the star collapses. But it doesn't collapse. We are not talking about quantum mechanics. I would have brought in the concept of electron degeneracy pressure. It is by degeneracy pressure that the dead star, a white dwarf or whatever it is, repels gravity, so that as gravity tries to squeeze, then that degeneracy of electrons would not allow the white dwarf, the remnant of a star, be crunched. So they stay like that, emitting dim energy until what happens to it. So as I said, Milky Way is only one of billion galaxies that we have in the world. Some of the galaxies, as I said, were old, some were of medium age, and some are new, known as main sequence stars. Our own sun, that houses our own solar system, the sun and its planet up to Pluto, and if you want to remove Pluto whatsoever up to that place, is held. They are held by and prevented from flying away in a straight line by the gravitational pull of the sun. So here are types of some galaxies if you wish to have a look at. This is Irregular Galaxy. You can see how it is. This is a spherical galaxy. What happens in spherical galaxies? What is observed is that most of the stars in spherical galaxies are dying away. the energy they produce is far less and they are soon going to go dim. Then this is also an example of an irregular galaxy. This one, you can see it has two arms. Actually, galaxies have even more than two arms, and the galaxy rotates about its own center with billions of stars, including our own sun. The sun is also a star. So, about the concept of this revolution, rotation of the Earth, coupled with the revolution of the Sun around the Milky Way Galaxy, is what we are going to address. If you look at the galaxy, our own galaxy is known as the Milky Way Galaxy. This Milky Way Galaxy is contained mainly of main sequence stars at their prime, just like our own sun. So our sun is located halfway outside the black hole. Outside the galaxy. It is 1/3 a distance from the edge of the galaxy, and 2/3 of the distance of its distance from the core of the galaxy. That is where we are. Actually, the sun, the Earth revolves around its axis, and it also revolves around the sun. That motion of spinning about its own axis is known as rotation, and it is responsible for day and night, because in the process of rotation, different phases, different plane, let's say plane, actually it's not plane, surfaces of the sun of the earth are made to face the sun, and then we have daylight. In other words, the other part that is not facing the sun have a night where there is no solar radiation. Our moon also moves around the earth. So a Scottish mathematician, Sir Edwin Taylor Whittaker, once said in a conference that the earth rotates about its own axis, and it also revolves around the sun. The sun himself revolves around the Milky Galaxy. So also the Milky Galaxy also moves around in a path within a group of galaxies. Galaxies have groups. They are called galaxy clusters. Just like the Milky Way is a collection of stars. There is no problem in very much problem in this, but as I said in the past, when someone has not been introduced into a system one way after another, he is going to find some assumptions outrageous. For example, the flat earthers, those who believe that the earth is flat. It is because they have not been told about how the how the earth survives despite being how the earth uh, survives by rotation. The major question here they do not understand is gravitational field. All of the planets in the sun are held by the gravitational pull of the sun, which is trying to pull them into itself, but they have a component of linear acceleration. Would the sun be instantaneously destroyed, then we are very sure that all stars in the galaxy would fly away. And if the sun is to be taken away, then we are very sure that the planets will go away, will disperse.